Today we are going to be revisiting Taylor's nylon string guitars, telling you what's unique and very cool about them, so stick around. Hey, you're watching Alamo Music TV. My name is Chris McKee.
And I'm Cooper Greenberg.
We're here with Alamo Music Center in San Antonio, Texas. You can find us online at alamomusic.com. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, and like our videos. If you'd like to support the channel, follow the link below to become an Alamo Music Insider. So today we are revisiting Taylor's nylon string guitars. If you aren't aware, I don't think they get majority of the attention nowadays, but years ago, it was over 10 years ago, I think it was around 2004, may have even been a little earlier, that Taylor introduced their nylon string line of guitars. And when they came out, they really were careful to be specific in what these are. They're not classical guitars, they are nylon string guitars, and that distinction is important. And so we'll talk about actually the first one that you've got, because this is probably the newest guitar that fits this description of nylon string, and the most affordable. So which one do you
so this is in the Academy series. It's the A12N, A12E. Academy 12E, N meaning electronic. You got pickup in here. But yeah, they're the student model, beginner model, however you want to call it, but really not necessarily just that. They're really nice guitars. You've seen the A12, A10, and the 12, the Grand Concert body style, is offered.
Sorry. So let me explain to you why I'm laughing. I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing.
Thinks I'm a joke over
I'm
here.
laughing with you. No. So in our system, we have these all set up as A10 and A12, and we refer to them. You'll never see Taylor referred in that way. Do you want to know why?
Because why?
So when they were first coming out with the Academy series, that's what they were referring to them. So we set everything up in our system like that. And then pretty much as they're releasing them, I think Paul Reed Smith was like, hey, we have a guitar called the A12. And they're like, oh, you do? We'll call these the Academy 12.
Academy, okay.
We'll be verbose.
Yeah,
so
that's
anyways.
fair. So this is the Academy 12. But they're, if you look at the SKU, A12EN.
Yes, great guitars.
Awesome guitars. When I first started here, I think we had just started really getting in the Academies. And I sat at my desk with the nylon all the time. I really like this guitar, and for somebody that's just getting into playing nylon guitar music, not necessarily classical music, but even if that's your vibe, this is a nice kind of in between going from a steel string acoustic guitar to a full-fledged, really thick, wide nut classical guitar.
Well, that was the idea behind these, and I'm holding a new one right now, but let me grab this. We actually had this in the store, and it got me thinking, the creative juices flowing, to talk about these guitars, because this is one of the OG ones. This is a 2006, and it is the NS44CE. Now, the naming has changed in recent years, but when they first came out, they were the NS series, the nylon string series, and there was a 300, a 400, a 600, a 700 series, and I think that was about it. There were some, we've had some 900 series. I remember we had a NS92E with a cherry sunburst top, and Cindy inlay, just gorgeous, gorgeous guitars. One of my favorites early on was an NS62CE, which would have been nylon string 6 series, so maple, and it had I think an Engelmann spruce top. It was flamed natural maple, and it was a small body. So this being an NS44CE means that it is Ovencal. It's Koa looking Ovencal, but it's Ovencal. With a cedar top, it's a 400 series, and it's a Grand Auditorium. So they've made these in both the Grand Concert, which is what the Academy 12 is, and the 812 CE I was holding, and they've made it in the larger Grand Auditorium body shapes. And they've been doing this with a number of series over the years. 200 series, there's a 214 CE nylon, 312 CE nylon.
Is there 4?
Currently there's not. So they've really pared it down. And of course, they have the 812 offered. There's a Jason Mraz nylon string that's offered. And there's been a bunch of fans, that play these.
Yeah.
So, a bunch of big artists that have adapted and adopted them into their...
Didn't Zach Brown play a Taylor nylon?
Zach Brown, and I was going to mention that. So Zach Brown does play a Taylor nylon, and he has a really cool one. That you've probably never heard of. I don't know that it's gotten a lot of attention, but Zach Brown and Bob Taylor spent time doing a USO thing overseas for the troops. And I think it was on that trip, if I understand correctly, that they talked about an issue Zach had with his nylon string, which is he likes to tune it down to E flat. Lots of bands play an E flat. We should do a video about that sometime, but why I think it's the perfect tuning. Anyways, he was trying to tune this nylon string down. And nylon strings, if you don't know, just the strings have less tension than steel strings. So these guitars sound different, they're braced different, there's a whole host of things. And when you tune it down, you can run into some inherent issues. And so Zach Brown's issue was that tuning it down made the tension a little weird and messed with the intonation.
Yeah.
And so they talked about what he could do and kind of, went back and forth with different ideas. And then unbeknownst to Zach Brown, Bob Taylor went and made him a guitar that was 1 fret longer.
Wow.
So that he could, basically it was designed to be tuned down to E flat.
That's very
And
cool.
the tension was good and the intonation was good. Pretty cool.
Bob Taylor, he's a cool guy.
Yeah, I want to hang out with Bob and just subtly drop some hints about issues I have with guitars and see what he and Andy come up with. So, but yeah, so this is where it kind of all started back in the early aughts. And it really was a huge line at one point. It's been pared down to specific models now. And they are, I think it's safe to say, still tinkering on these guitars because we got some prototypes in once. Did you ever see those?
Mm-mm.
We, by accident, got in some prototypes that Andy had made, and they were in the system, and I guess they weren't marked correctly, and I ordered them, and they came in. And then I sent photos to JR, our rep with Taylor, and was like, these are interesting, and they sound amazing, and I really want to keep these, but I don't think y'all did this right. Like, something's off. And sure enough, we had to send them back.
Really?
They were Andy's guitars, prototypes.
Wow.
And they were amazing guitars. But I've always loved these because, I don't know about you, I love the sound of a nylon string.
Yeah.
There's a roundness to it.
Oh, yeah.
And have you ever noticed like the sustain that's there?
Yeah, I mean, I've mentioned it before, Willie Nelson being like one of my favorite people alive and favorite musicians. His sound is so distinct on trigger, obviously not a Taylor
Right.
nylon string, but yeah, there's something about it. And then on the other end, the Gypsy King stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like all such beautiful tone on those guitars.
I've loved flamenco music for a long, long time. Taylor used to do some CDs called the Wood and Steel CDs, and their very first volume that they put out, Steve Stevens from Billy Idol is playing a early prototype nylon string Taylor. I think the song is called Sadana or something like that, playing flamenco music that he does now.
Yeah.
Like Ben Woods and stuff, just amazing flamenco players. So that I was like, that's killer. And then a few years later, they came out with their nylon string guitars. So
that's pretty cool. And I love the 812 too, like the look and everything.
Yeah, so it's interesting. They've come from this, which was, they all had their own thing, laser cut rosettes and stuff, to what we have now. I mean, the Academy 12 nylon that you've got is an amazingly good value.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got a solid top, and it's lute spruce in this particular case. It's not Sitka to go with the tension and the tonality of the nylon strings. Layered back and sides. You've got the arm rest, though, which is such a great value on all the Academy guitars.
Yeah.
Electronics, a gig bag, and a really fantastic playing guitar. Because the thing about these being nylon strings is they have a steel string style neck. They have a 1 7/8 inch nut width, so it's not 2 inches, which is standard on most classical guitars. Classical guitars have a flat fretboard. These are radiused at 20 inches, which is flatter than a normal Taylor for obvious reasons. The strings have a wider diameter. A normal Taylor is about 15 or 16. So these are 20.
You can see the curvature.
Yeah, but compared to a normal nylon string guitar that has nothing, these are a lot more comfortable. So the idea behind these is to be these great nylon string guitars, bossa nova style guitars, crossovers, hybrids, whatever you want to call it, to be a nylon string guitar for the steel string player. And with the latest addition in their kind of, I guess, standard line is aligning it more with what the series calls for. So in this particular case, it looks like an 800 series. It's got the pale maple binding, solid rosewood back and sides, solid Sitka spruce top. It is fan braced, but they call it their advanced performance fan bracing with a relief route. So they've taken some of the tricks from steel string and put it with a fan bracing. Obviously the bridge is different. This has an ESN pickup system. It's not the ES2 because of the design of the bridge and the need for nylon strings. But it's got the element inlay, and the beautiful slide headstock, and just all of those typical 800 series appointments in a grand concert size package that plays really well and has that distinct nylon tone.
Yeah.
So I know
Yeah,
a lot
for
of
sure.
guys who are steel string players that really gravitate to these because it's more comfortable for them. I know a lot of jazz players who really like these
Yeah.
because they, again, extremely comfortable, great pickup systems, and have that wonderful sound.
Yeah, and I mean, I know there's a lot of smaller luthiers and custom things that you can get, but in terms of a non-classical guitar that is so high-end and luxury, there's really not that many offerings out there in terms of like the big brands.
There's really not. Since Taylor did these, Cordoba's come out with a line of kind of hybrid crossovers.
Is that the Fusion line?
The Fusion line, and a few others that kind of adopt some of those.
Yeah.
Takamini's had something that's kind of like that. Yamaha has something that's kind of like that. Even Martin's had some nylon strings that have come in and out of the catalog from time to time. But there really does seem to be this return to, there's a need for a steel string player, like many of you probably are, to have a nylon string that gives you that tone, that gives you that unique, distinct sound, but is more aligned with what you're comfortable playing.
Yeah, I think about that, and even in the vein of like this one, if you're recording or if you just have a collection, you need something to fill that void, like having something like this or like that if you're gonna have a luxury piece in your home, like keeps it accessible if you're not like a trained classical player. Looks really very beautiful, and it gives you the sound without having to go all in, you know.
Yeah, I think it also gets the creative juices flowing if you have something that's unique like this that you can play on, and we'll talk about that in another video. But it's something to add to your collection, and these you don't have to play classical stuff. We're going to demo these and play stuff that's not necessarily classical, but the tonality that's unique to these really brings something new. So we're going to put all these through the paces so you can hear from yourself and experience both old and new Taylor nylon strings. So check it out. So there you have it. 3 Taylor nylon strings, really kind of covering the decades, if you will, with that old 400 series one. But really fun guitars, really great offerings, something unique. And for a lot of people that are out there, you might have a number of steel strings, and if they're like me, I always buy something that's different from everything else I have. And in addition to body shapes and tone woods, one of the ways you can do that is to look at a different style of guitar. A baritone 12-string, a nylon string. I think everyone should have a nylon string in their collection of some kind.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Both of us, we were talking before this, that we have had nylon strings and gotten rid of nylon strings, and then you always wish that you had it back, for sure.
I sold all of mine to finance other gear, and I just want one back.
Yeah.
I just need one in my collection. So
yeah, it's something too where I think you probably feel the same, and most people, you play differently because you're not going to be playing with a pick generally, right. And so you can really work on your finger style by playing a nylon string, and then there's so much dynamic, inherently you play very soft. It sounds different than when you use fingernails or you really dig in. And so it's a nice way of exploring dynamics and different finger style things. And between these 3, all of these feel really different too.
They do. I was taken away at how much the older one felt different. The neck shape felt completely different.
Yeah.
And it's just, Taylor's always, of course, changing stuff, but it was a stark contrast.
Yeah, definitely.
To play that NS44C, and then from that one to this one, and just go, wow, what a change.
Yeah, we do have the NS44 on consignment if you're really interested in it, because it is a great guitar and kind of a cool piece of Taylor history.
Definitely.
So you can call us or check out the website because we got more info on that one.
Yeah, if you'd like to add something unique like a nylon string to your collection, definitely check our website out at alamomusic.com. We've got the traditional ones, we've got the kind of crossover ones, and of course these awesome Taylor ones in stock and others that are available, so we can help you find the nylon string guitar of your dreams. Because I always say, at the end of the day, the very best guitar in the world is the one that you can play for 7 hours and your fingers don't hurt afterwards.
It's very true.
So anyways, if you're new to our channel, make sure that you subscribe, turn on notifications, like our videos, and head to the link below in the description if you'd like to learn more about becoming an Alamo Music Insider, having more fun with us, and we will see you next time.